أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Dear all brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome again for the 11th session of Siraj al-Kabir program for Tajweed series. And in this lesson we're going to have lesson about rules of second noon and tanween. As you saw the 10th session that we talked about idgham portion, and based on Hafs and Asim narration of Holy Quran Recitation, there were 7 points that they had idgham. And in this lesson, we're going to have lesson about rules of second noon and tanween. There's, in many words of Holy Quran, we have maybe a noon, which is sakin, or maybe tanween, that based on alphabet of Arabic language, that there are 28 letters of Arabic language alphabet. There are some rules that we should know that after sakin noon or after tanween, which letter comes and it has which rule. So sakin noon and tanween have 4 rules. Sakin noon and tanween have 4 rules. The first is izhar, the second idgham, the third iqlab, and the fourth one ikhfa. It's mentionable that all these rules that I named, these are the Arabic words, and I will explain them one by one, inshallah rahman. The first one, that second noon and tanween, it has the rule, it is izhar rule, izhar. There's izhar is an Arabic word. In English, it means to reveal something. Izhar is an Arabic word, it means to reveal something. But in Tajweed, it means to pronounce frankly the letter noon, which is sakin, or tanween. Noon, which is sakin, or tanween. While we pronounce the noon, which is sakin, or we pronounce the tanween frankly, explicitly, very clearly, that is called izhar. But in condition that after noon is sakin or after tanween, there should be the 6 letters of hamza, as you see in the screen. Hamza, the letter of ha, the letter of ain, the letter of ha, the letter of ghain, and the letter of kha. These 6 letters, when we have these 6 letters, after sakin noon or after tanween, we pronounce the noon or we pronounce tanween frankly. Like as the examples that you see in the screen, like the example for the hamza, like we have yan'aun, yan'auna, yan'auna. Here we have noon, which is sakin, and after noon we have alif or hamza, that we pronounce the noon frankly. Or maybe in the next example, غُثَاءً أَحْوَى, غُثَاءً أَحْوَى. Here again we have tanween at the top of hamza, and after tanween we have alif. That's why that we pronounce it izhar. And the next example for ha, like the example that you see in the screen, minhum. Minhum. We pronounce the noon frankly because after noon, which is sakin here, we have the letter ha. And the next example that you see, jurfun har. Jurfun har. We pronounce the tanween frankly. And the next example that you see for ain, letter of ain, an'amta. An'amta. Here we pronounce the letter noon frankly because we have after noon ain letter. And the next example for ain, sami'un alim. Sami'un alim. Here again we have a tanween at the top of ain, but after tanween we have another ain. That's why that we pronounce the tanween frankly. And the next example for the letter ha, that is tanhituna. Tanhituna. Here after noon we have ha. And the next example like hakimun hamid. Hakimun hamid. Again we pronounce the tanween, which is at the top of mim, frankly, because we have after that, following the mim, we have the letter of ha. The next example for the letter ghain, like فَسَيُنْغِضُونَ فَسَيُنْغِضُونَ. Here again we pronounce the letter noon frankly, because we have after noon, which is second, we have the letter of ghain. Or maybe the next example like قَوْلًا غَيْرٌ قَوْلًا غَيْرٌ. Here we have tanween at the top of lam, and we have after the tanween, following the tanween, we have a ghain letter. That's why that we pronounce the letter of tanween frankly. And the last letter for letter of kha, like that you see the example in the screen, وَالْمُنْخَنِقَةِ وَالْمُنْخَنِقَةِ. Here again we have after noon, which is second, we have letter of kha, وَالْمُنْخَنِقَةِ. And the next example that you see, حَكِيمٌ خَبِيرٌ حَكِيمٌ خَبِيرٌ. Guys, here again we have tanween at the top of mim, and following the tanween we have the letter of kha. So, as a conclusion for the first part of this lesson, for Izhar lesson, I told you dears that when we have after noon, sakin noon, or after tanween, the letters, the 6 letters of hamza, ha, ain, ha, ghain, and kha. When we have these letters, we pronounce the noon, which is sakin, or and tanween frankly. The next rule of sakin noon and tanween is idgham. As you saw the 10th session of Tajweed, our Tajweed series, that we discussed about idgham very with details. In this lesson, we are going to add something else for idgham portion. Dears, as you know that idgham means in English to enter, but in Tajweed it means to delay second letter and make mushaddad the next letter. It means that we delete a second letter, and after the second letter we have another letter. We add a tashdid and we pronounce it in mushaddad. That's called idgham. It's mentionable that in this lesson we're going to study idgham with ghunna and idgham without ghunna. There will be created a question to you that what is ghunna? There's ghunna is an Arabic word. It means that the sound that it exists from our nose, that is called ghunna. Like inna Allah, during the pronunciation of all the sound exists from my nose. That is called ghunna. And idgham with ghunna, it means that we just exit the sound from our nose, and idgham without ghunna, it means in contradiction to that. Very easily, when the letter noon, which is sakin, or tanween, comes before the letters ya, mim, waw, and nun, yamun. The letters of ya, mim, waw, nun. It has ghunna with it has idgham with ghunna. As you see the examples, like may yahdi, may yahdi, may yahdi. We have to pronounce the same. And also the same, the next, mimmal, mimmal. In all these examples, we remove the letter nun. And the next example, as you see, miwali, miwali. And the next example, as you see, حطة نغفر, حطة نغفر. So these all examples were for the idgham with ghunna. And what is idgham without ghunna? When the letter noon, which is sakin, or tanween, comes before the letter of ra and lam, it has idgham without ghunna. As you see in the examples like mir rabbikum, mir rabbikum. Here we do not say mir rabbikum. It is wrong because it does not have ghunna. And also mir rabbikum. And the next example, as you see, مثل الرجل, مثل الرجل. Here we have also idgham without ghunna. And the next example that you see for the letter lam, إِلَّا بِثُّمْ. إِلَّا بِثُّمْ. Here we delete noon, which is sakin. إِلَّا بِثُّمْ. We do not pronounce إِلَّا بِثُّمْ because it is wrong. It does not have gunna. And the next example, as you see, هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. As a conclusion, in the 11th session of our program, Siraj al-Kabir program, we discussed about rules of sakin noon and tanween, that we had discussion with details about izhar and about idgham. Idgham with gunna and idgham without gunna. Do not forget to subscribe our YouTube channel and watch our videos. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah fi amanallah.